It's a blessing to welcome on one of the top players in 2022, Judah Mintz. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How about you?
Pretty good. Well, let's just get right into this. You're part of 2022. It's now been a few months of coaches calling you, and we're just trying to get heavily in this recruiting process. So, sitting here today, what's it looking like?
It's been pretty fun. The experience is great. It's
Mhm.
different not being able to see the coaches in person and stuff, but being on Zoom calls and stuff is pretty fun.
And obviously, you'd rather be going on this, seeing the coaches in person, but you're starting to really get to know these coaches in a more personal level. All you can do is just talk to them. How has it been that relationships up now?
Yeah, building relationships, as it's just human nature to want to be able to interact with people,
Hmm.
but you can still tell over calls and stuff uh, how genuine coaches are and their excitement for you as a player.
Let's get into some of these offers. You first offer was George Mason. You've added on schools like Wake Forest, Georgetown, Penn State, Florida, LSU, Maryland, Seton Hall, DePaul. A lot of schools showing interest as well. Who are you talking to the most right now, though?
I probably talked to Virginia Tech, Maryland, LSU, and Marquette. Oh, in Florida.
Hmm.
I talked to those the most. And I've had Zooms with Maryland and Florida so far. And I have one scheduled for Virginia Tech next week.
Let's go into Maryland first. They're a school that you have taken an unofficial visit to before this whole pandemic happened and still games were occurring. Took that visit out there. What was that like?
The atmosphere in Maryland is crazy. I remember they played Michigan State the day I went,
Hmm.
and even though they lost that game, their crowd and and just the way they're all together as a unit is pretty cool to see.
Also, you're gonna be the hometown guy if you possibly went there. What would it be like being able to stay home, close to family, friends, and where you kind of grew up?
Yeah, family is everything to me. So being able to be a hometown hero, quote unquote, would be amazing, really. And I know everybody will come to my games that's close to me. That would be pretty cool.
How much of a factor will be staying in Maryland or somewhere near home have on your recruiting?
To be honest, the place I'm at won't really affect me.
Hmm.
More than anything, I'm looking for something that feels like home, even if it's not physically home.
Hmm. What are all the things a college must have for you to seriously consider them?
Uh, Graduating in about 3.5 years. That's been a goal for me lately. And then also on court, I like a school that likes to get up and down the court and lets their guards play and play through their guards. That's a big deal for me.
Absolutely. Well, the next one I want to touch up on is LSU. They've been having some stacked recruiting classes. 2020 was a top 10 recruiting class with Alex Fudge, who just moved to number 9 now in 2021. Coach Will putting together elite classes back-to-back years now. How appealing is that to you as a prospect?
It's definitely appealing to see uh, big names and big talents go to a school and do big things while they're there. Because being a guard and watching them let their guards play and their guards moving on to play higher than college basketball is really appealing, especially for a player that has dreams like me.
We've seen and heard all the stories about some of these programs. LSU's in the mix of the legal allegations issues. We see a lot of off the court stuff. Does anything go through your mind when you look at that and you see that?
Nah, not really. Not. I mean, I have time.
Hmm.
So when that time comes, of course, I'll still be asking questions and stuff. But right now, on the court and building a connection with coaches is my biggest goal.
Coach Will Wade, we see him as a coach, what he does on the court. How about off the court? What's he like just talking to you on the day-to-day life?
Yeah, he seems like a pretty genuine person. Um, Most of my recruitment with them is through Coach Nickelberry, actually, and he sends like it would just be inspiring text message or something. But overall, the Coach Nickelberry and Coach Will, they both seem like pretty cool guys.
I hear for a lot of guys, the thing that sometimes separates colleges is when the head coach kind of takes over and you really create the big bond with him. Is that something you're looking for in a college, or is it just okay having an assistant coach be really close to you?
No, the head coach being giving you reassurance that they really want you
Hmm.
and they feel like they need you is a big deal. It's a confidence booster too.
Florida's another school you mentioned. They're a program that is on the rise once again. They had an elite era about 10 years ago with a whole bunch of national championship kind of teams. It's been a little bit of rebuilding years since Coach Donovan's gone away, but they're starting to be on the rise again. What do you like about Florida and their program?
Uh, I really like Florida.
Hmm.
Coach Will Wade and we speak often, and on the court, I like the direction the program is going in. And as you mentioned, they have a great history, obviously. But moving forward, it's gonna be what fits me, and the way they plan on getting up and down the court is really appealing to me.
And there's only so many programs that sustain dominance for so long. That's like your Kentucky, Duke, Kansas is. There's a lot of programs that have eras that they're good at. Florida's one of those. So how would you plan to possibly bring Florida back to the dominance if that's a school you choose someday?
The SEC is a tough conference, it's a physical conference, and
Mhm.
I would like to consider myself a physical guard. And just being able to play free as a guard and get up and down the court and have your coaches trust you, that'll definitely help me while you're playing the SEC in a tough conference like the SEC.
Virginia Tech as well is another big program. What do you like about them over there?
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with the head coach right now, being that he's new.
Hmm.
But the Zoom next week should help me figure out some stuff about them and start building that relationship between the head coach, not only the assistants.
Well, when you prepare for these Zoom calls, how exactly are you preparing for them? What's some of the questions you want to ask them? Kind of gather what your approach is when you head into these Zoom calls with coaches.
Yeah, I most of them were with my family and my mom, and my dad, and sometimes my little brother may pop his head in there. But uh, it's really about, of course, my parents want to know where I'm gonna be, who I would stay with my freshman year. But a lot of the off court stuff is big because I've seen them play on TV and stuff. So
Mhm.
off the court and what will be happening when I'm away at college when my parents aren't with me is a big deal.
When you talk about off the court stuff and the coach relationship that way, what's the relationship you want to have with a coach? There's some guys that like the kind of more chill, relaxed coaches, almost like what Coach Turgeon is. And then there's some coaches that guys like that are kind of energetic all the time, having fun, yelling. What's kind of coaching style you like?
To be honest, I've had hard coaches pretty much all my life,
Hmm.
and I think it's good to have a balance between the two, being tough on your players and then also having a relationship so that they trust you on and off the court.
Hmm.
And yeah, I just think it's great to have a balance, to be honest.
You've mentioned a lot about the guard play and how much you're going to look at that when you're evaluating colleges. And Marquette's maybe one of the best in the country for that, especially when you look at what they did with the guy that was similar to you in terms of ranking, 70 to 80 range, Marcus Howard. When you see a program do what they just did with Marcus Howard and turn him into one of the most iconic college careers ever, how appealing is that to you?
It's really appealing because seeing a guard like Marcus Howard be able to play free and shoot basically anything he wanted and not looking to the sideline for any verification of what he does on the court is really good to see.
You're talking to the staff over there. Who are some of the guys that's really talking to the most? Who's your relationship like the closest with over there?
Coach Killings from the staff, he's the lead recruiter for me.
Hmm.
But yeah, I had a Zoom with them last month, I would say, and we've just been building a connection off the court, and we'll get into on the court stuff later, of course. But off the court right now is really big.
What would be the dream fit scenario for you? Are you a guy that wants to go in as a freshman and be the good dominant guy, be the go-to scorer, or you guy that kind of wants to maybe take some time, work your way into that rotation? What's kind of the situation and fit you want to go into as a freshman in college?
Yeah, going in, I would like to. I'm not gonna say go in and just immediately dominate, but I
Hmm.
would want to have a realistic opportunity to go in and take a spot if that's what I can do. I wouldn't want to go in and have to sit and wait and learn. I would like to learn while I'm on the court. That's a big deal for me.
Out of all the schools you're currently talking to, but have yet to extend the actual offer to you, who's shown the most interest?
Uh, Probably North Carolina, and yeah, that's North Carolina is probably the one that
You,
has an offer.
so could you possibly see a North Carolina offer coming in sometime soon?
I mean, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Nothing's set in stone. I know they would like to see me play in person, being that COVID kind of messed up my spring and summer. But yeah, we'll see about that one.
That is one of those programs that have been able to sustain dominance now for a long time, besides last year's little blip, but everything else they've been dominating now for a long time. Coach Roy Williams, a Hall of Fame coach. When you just have that blue blood presence, that's that overall dominance of college basketball. What does that feel like, and what's it like just to know that you're being recruited by one of the best out there?
Uh, it shows you that your hard work isn't going unnoticed,
Mhm.
and what you've put into the game is being recognized, and that's always a good confidence booster. But being recruited by big schools like that, forget confidence. It just makes you happy as a player, to be honest.
Some guys find it kind of challenging to look at a big program like North Carolina, Duke, or Kansas and turn away from that possibly and look at the best opportunity. How do you sometimes like, push aside the spotlight and the historical attributes and just look at truly where the best fit is for you and what you truly want as a player?
Yeah, to be honest, going to the biggest school has never been like it's either this or nothing.
Hmm.
Like if something lower is a better fit than me, then so be it. It's about me growing as a player and as a person while I'm there, not chasing a dream. To be honest.
That's big time. Well, let's get into your high school season. You took an interesting route. You chose the prep school, not as a prep school, but you chose really a national scheduled school, an elite big time program in the country at Gonzaga. Why did you choose there?
Gonzaga is really like it's a brotherhood.
Hmm.
It's it's more than on the court stuff. As a school and as a whole, we come together, and I really like the way we come together through all sports. All sports support each other, and going from hockey to lacrosse, and it's really cool.
You mentioned earlier when we were talking, it's an all guys school. What's it like being in that environment?
Going in, it's different, but you adapt to it pretty quickly. And even though it's all guys, it's still pretty fun. We horse around and stuff. It's not really a challenge to go to all boys school for high school.
Because you go to this program, it's something that I kind of like guys doing. When you talk about going to a program where you're going to be pushed every day at practice, you're playing some of the top schools in the country as well as your state. Sometimes it may make your numbers not as good as they could be. Kind of deducts that because of how much talent, but you see how good you can become, kind of almost like a college feel. What's it been like accepting that role and playing in the system and kind of playing alongside a lot of the big time players?
Yeah, I can't lie. First year, it was hard. It was difficult not being able to be on the court. And then last year, playing with a Michigan commit, a Vanderbilt commit, and a Butler commit, it's it it's challenging because often when you're on your high schools, I mean, when you're on your AAU circuit, you're like the guy, and you come in play high school basketball, and you have to take kind of a seat back. But learning what to do and what not to do from those type of good players is really big, and I think it'll help me moving forward being a leader for our team this year.
And that's what you're going to have this upcoming year. Hopefully, things go as planned, gets have a season. If that goes down, though, you will have a more prominent role. Terrance is out there. He's out to go to Michigan. A lot of guys have switched around. It's a big opportunity for you, as well as someone like Devin. How do you plan to accept this role and kind of become one of the main leaders on the roster now?
Yeah, I've been waiting for this since freshman year, so taking this leader role will it may be challenging at times, but I'm ready for it. Me and Devin will we plan to take our team pretty far this year and senior year.
Losing a lot of pieces. We talked about both you and Devin now a step up. Who else on the team do you expect to have a bigger role and have another big time role on your team?
Malcolm Dredd, he'll be a senior this year. He's going to Richmond. And then we have a kid we're bringing up from JV. He's about 6'8". We have another big kid. He's like 6'10". So we're a freshman, rising sophomore, like 6'5" shooter. So even we may not be the most talented on the court at all times in conference play or out of conference play, but I think we have the pieces to be a really good team as a whole. Because I know playing with a lot of talented people can bump heads at times.
Upcoming year for you, where do you kind of set your averages? Where do you want to average this upcoming season now that you are one of the star players?
No less than 15 per game is what I realistically think my team will need from me. Probably more than that, to be honest. But I'm gonna have to get on the glass and play, be a playmaker, give Dev some rest off the ball and stuff. So really, it's not gonna be stat chasing for me
Mhm.
because I'm not really chasing any offers or anything. I really just want to win these next 2 years. So whatever my team needs from me is what they'll get.
What was it like winning state championship last year?
Uh, that was that was pretty fun. We fell short, of course, of WCAC championships,
Mhm.
and everybody was pretty bummed out about that. But being able to send the seniors away with a state championship was pretty cool. It's being that the year before that we got knocked out in the first round.
We know that you're ultra athletic. You can really put a lot of guys in the rim. There is one play though particular against Paul VI, who you have a poster dunk that was one of the top in the country for pretty much the entire year. Take us to that play.
Uh, I really didn't know what I was gonna do when I jumped. I didn't think he was gonna jump,
Hmm.
but when I caught the ball, I knew that the refs weren't really. We were in their house, and I knew that the refs weren't really calling anything. So if he was gonna block it, he was gonna have to take it off the rim. And I think being aggressive and making people meet you at the rim versus under it is big.
There had to be a big energizer. I know it was for most of your team, but what goes through your mind after you get that poster dunk? What's going through your mind?
Uh, Really, I was looking for the foul from the ref, to be honest. But uh, just seeing the crowd and my teammates hype me up, that was pretty big for me. It was a confidence booster for the rest of the season, too. Actually,
I said it's against an elite team, Paul VI, many Division I players on that roster. What was it like playing that game?
playing against Paul VI and teams like DeMatha is those are always highly competitive, and being able to showcase your skills against other really talented, highly recruited players is always good, and is it's one of those things that every player wants to do. Every player wants to prove that they're the best against the best. So yeah, I can't wait to play those teams again these next 2 years.
What was your favorite game of your high school career so far?
I would say DeMatha at DeMatha may have been my favorite, or St. John's at St. John's. Those two crowds, the atmosphere in those games are always sold out, and it's nothing like a sold out game at DeMatha, to be honest.
Absolutely. And you have been able to play some form of AAU. It hasn't been the full season, but there's been some stuff you got to do with Team Durant. What was it just getting back on the court and playing some?
Yeah, I started off with Takeover for about 2 games, and then I finished with Durant for my very last weekend playing AAU, so I can like adjust because I'm going to be playing with them moving forward.
Hmm.
But I mean, you couldn't really expect much out of this season, so being on the court and just being able to play was a blessing in itself. But it felt good. It felt good to get back on the court and be able to uh, showcase what you've been working on the off season.
And what went into that move? Why'd you go from Takeover to Team Durant?
Uh, as a player, I think it fits me best for for where I'm trying to go right now. And Takeover has been home since I was in fourth grade, so that's always gonna be my family. But moving forward as a player, I just felt like I needed a change.
Now, playing the DMV, Maryland area, that's an elite amount of talent over there. It's not only historically all-time great area for talent, but right now there's tons of guys in every class. What's it like just playing basketball out there?
Yeah, basketball is everything we do out here. Of course, football and
Mm.
stuff, but basketball it's really big in our area from PG, Montgomery, DC. It's what we do. And just seeing people like Quinn Cook, Victor Oladipo, the Grant brothers, Brian Crawford, Chris Likes, it just shows you that Kevin Durant has forgot him, but it just shows you that if they can do it, like you can make it too. Because some of those guys I just named weren't the most highly touted, but they they got their end goal at the end.
Where would you rank the DMV area compared to every other area in America?
I mean, I'd rank it number one over anybody for sure. Yeah, I think we can go up against anybody. AAU from AAU to high school for sure. I think we have the best high school conference in the nation.
Out of your state, who's on your team? If you could put together 8, 10 man roster of DMV guys, who's on your roster?
That's a tough question. I'd probably put Benny, my backcourt mate Devin, of course, Doug, Christian Watson, Trevor, Paul Lewis, sheesh, Rodney, and yeah, that's all I can think about right now. But it's so many players in our area that are special.
Absolutely, man. If you look at your Instagram bio, you have a quote: "Limits like fears are often just an illusion." What does that mean to you?
To me, that means that well, going first on limits, I think you can go as far as you want. I know it's a cliche, but
Hmm.
if you really put your head down and go get what you want, I think it can be achieved. And then and then fears. I think fear fear oftentimes can hold people back from working towards their dreams and being conservative and not really taking risk. So yeah, that quote's pretty big for me.
And a few more things before I let you go. One is talking about your legacy. That's something I think all guys want to do. So when you are done playing basketball someday, what do you want your legacy to be for what you achieve both on and off the court?
Yeah, I just wanted, for me personally, I don't really think about my legacy, but I just want to be known as somebody that put everything I had into the game of basketball. And I don't want to look back and say, "Oh, I wish I would have done this or that." And then off the court, uh, coming back to this area with and being able to help kids that used to be just like me, that's always been a vision of mine, and it'll be pretty cool if I can achieve it.
I think God always puts certain things in people's hearts. When you talk about coming back someday if you make it, what do you want your biggest thing to be? Is it like a community center, different stores? Like what's kind of your dream thing you want to come back to your community and build or do?
Yeah, definitely a community center. Uh, I see Kevin Durant has his own in Sea Pleasant where he's from, and yeah, being from Fort Washington, I know our rec centers can kind of get packed and everybody wants to hoop,
Hmm.
and having a place where with like a new 24 kind of place with a lot of courts and stuff, that would be pretty dope if I can do that.
Absolutely, man. Well, I definitely appreciate you taking time to come on today. Keep doing your thing, man. Good luck this upcoming season.
Appreciate it.
Of course, you're always welcome on, man. God bless.
You too.